These are very common. Light may not be common. It is so much. Sometimes we don't even know. We don't even pay attention. We take light for granted. Whereas salt, those of us who are cooking, mothers or any chefs, you know how important salt is. Salt is a very, very... So here, Jesus talks about us being the salt and light immediately after one of his greatest discourses, which is the, what do you call it, the Beatitudes. You know, it was on a hillside, and you know, he saw people gathering, so he told them to sit down. The disciples gathered. Then he expounded the Beatitudes about blessed is the man, you know, happy, you know, okay. There are how many of us? 10 of us here, right? Yeah, I think I counted 10. Before boss came in, there were 9 of us. So I wanted to ask each one to say one. There are 9 Beatitudes actually. There are 9 Beatitudes. After the Beatitudes, Jesus goes straight on to say, be the light and salt of the earth. After the Beatitudes, you know. So what does he see? Even non-Christians, like big lecturers and teachers and all that, they have always said one of the best, not one of the, in fact the best, Jesus was a very good teacher. He explained things in a very simple way, things that people could understand, things that we can relate to, things that we can see. Yeah? Well, sometimes we have professors all who are very, very smart. They talk above our heads. Hey, they are smart guys. But we may not be able to understand what they are talking, or maybe find it even difficult. But Jesus was a very, 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 very beautiful, one of the most beautiful and best teachers. And here he uses 2 very common things, which is salt and light. First, he says, be the salt of the what? Earth, right?
Yes.
Be the salt of the earth.
And the light of the world.
And be the light, whatever it is. You are like salt for the whole human race. Wow! You are like, verse 13, I'm reading from the Good News. You are like salt for the whole human race. But if the salt loses its saltiness, there is no way to make it salty again. It has become worthless, so it is thrown out and people trample upon it. So, even something salt. Okay, what are some of the salt? You know, in the old days, very, very early days, you know, the ancient Roman times, or even earlier, I can't remember which period, they use salt as money, you know. You buy things, you give salt as, like we use currency. Salt was like a currency in those days. Because they know that salt is got worth, you know, it is worth something. Salt also adds what? Flavor, right, to the food. Salt also has got healing properties. Sometimes you have a cut or something, they use saline or salt to wash it. You know, it's got healing properties. Salt has got, what do you call it? Also, if it has not lost its saltiness, it can also be used as manure. You know, sometimes if you know, those of you who are gardeners, you go and put a little salt here and there. But once it loses that saltiness, it is no use. You can just trample upon. So how can salt lose its saltiness? You just keep it without using it, right? You keep it too long also, without using it, it can lose its, you know, when salt is not used, it can lose its saltiness. So here Jesus saying, hey, you are the salt of the whole human race, Doesn't matter, Indian, Chinese, Bangladeshis, it does. Hey, you are the salt. So what is he asking us? What is he telling us to do? Go and add flavor to the society. You bring healing to the society. Go there and bring healing. Healing what? Not in your this, but you are my children. As my child, you be my salt. You go there and be and bring healing and bring flavor to the society. Make it, and imagine mommy cooks food. Daddy comes home after this, hey, very nice food. Accidentally ask for, yeah, what is this so powerful? And sometimes too much salt. Maybe mommy accidentally took too much salt and put into the curry or into this. And too much salt also is not good. So when we minister to people, when we share the gospel, when we become, don't be humble and come to their level, and then don't try to act smart and say, hey, I know this, and no. Be very simple and just, use their little amount of salt. When they are able, when the curry becomes more curry, then you add a bit more salt. And then always this. What does, like my grandmother and all in India, when they cook, they know so well how much salt to add, Like now you go to read in the cookery book, they said, this one add 2 teaspoonfuls of here. Hey, grandmother, all just salt. Oh, curry this. Wow, taste. Nothing like mommy's or grandmother's cooking, right? So, salt can bring healing. He says, hey, there are many hurting people out there. Not only Christian, not only non-Christians, Among Christians, there are a lot of people hurting. Families, friends, school, you know what I mean? Children, especially when they are growing up at this age, there is what you call it, hurts and pains. He said, go and be, you be the salt. Bring some healing. How can you bring healing? Go there, just be there. Sometimes you don't even have to say a word, Sometimes maybe you go to some, sorry, I'm not Pantangwana, I'm not scared to talk about death and all that. You go to a friend's funeral, you don't have to say anything, you just stand, just put your arm around him. That itself brings a lot of healing. Sometimes when you talk, our words can cause a lot of unnecessary trouble. All you have to make accidentally one slip, a word cannot get back. I think there's a story of this, I think it's a Chinese story about one of this young man went to this sage and said, look, I have heard the man, I want to, I want to say sorry to him. He says, okay, you can say sorry, but better than that, don't do it again. He says, bring me some leaves or something. So, okay, this is how he threw away the leaves, right? And the wind caught, hey, go and catch the thing, he cannot catch back. So our words are like that, he said. Once we speak, very difficult to retrieve. So when we become salt of the earth, be careful what our speech can cause may not be intentionally, but if we are not careful, the words. That's why I think James talks a lot about words, how to use words. We have to be very, very, and words also can bring healing also. So let our words add flavor to the company we are in. Let us salt used rightly in the right amount can bring healing, can bring healing, can bring happiness, can bring comfort. So Jesus is saying, and also as I said earlier, like manure, it can bring growth as well. Help the plants. So when young Christians just add a little bit of flavor, when they are growing up, just like the tree. Put a bit of salt and let it go. Huh? Healing is what you call a hurt comes on. And God's word is the best salt. The word of God is the best salt we can use to bring healing. So he says, be the healing of the whole human race. So this is why missionaries, when they go out, I think those of you who have been to missions and all that, you see the children hurting. You see, that now the floods, this, that, all the disasters. Hey, people are hurting. And amongst them, I know there are many Christian organizations who are out there to bring healing. They are being the salt of the earth. Then Jesus said, hey, not only be the salt, and so he says, but that's why I said, we have to safeguard the salt. Imagine if my wife bought salt and put in a bottle and left it open, what happened? Just evaporate, what I mean? It loses its saltiness, right? So what does she do? Make sure you got a airtight bottle, cover it, and sometimes you have the little, dehumidifier, when you put, things won't, I don't know what you call it, a little packet of...
humid.
So you put that, so why? You lose it. So we have to safeguard what we are so that our saltiness cannot be diluted or cannot be, I know what I mean, so that we can continue to be useful as long as God gives us breath. Continue, but we have to safeguard it. Hey, it's a simple thing, salt, but Jesus uses that to teach. Everybody know what salt is. Wives, husband, we go and have makan, we always look for what? Ketchup, that's also a bit of salt, right? This one, and again, as I said, in the early days they use it as a currency for trading. So salt has got lots and lots and lots of value. So he says, hey, go and be the salt, be my salt. Hey, give value to this world, where people are hurting, where there's a lot of rubbish going on. Go and put a little bit of salt here, salt there, and bring healing to the, but first of all, please don't go in our strength. Go in the strength of who made the salt? Jesus. And after that he says, very interesting, after that he says, be the light, what do you call it? Thrown and be trembled. So if useless, even people just stamp about, wow, Thomas, come here, do this, outside do this, people are watching us. So we have to be careful, our words match with what we say. Then he said, you are like light for the whole world. Wow. Again, not for just, you are like the light of the whole world. A city built on a hill cannot be hid. No one lights a lamp and puts it under a bowl. Instead, it is put in the lampstand where it gives light for everyone in the house. Just before that, I just wanted to read one verse, if somebody has it. Mark 9 verse 49. Sorry, is it Mark? I forgot. Mark 9:49. I forgot that point. It's about salt.
Okay, I read from NIV. Everyone will be salted with fire.
Everyone will be
salted with fire.
Everyone will be salted with fire. But in the one of the other translations, like when you bring your sacrifice, you also put salt for in sacrifices. And again, when two people made I forgot this important, when two people made a covenant, nowadays you sign this, you have stamp this, and those days they each exchanged what you call it, salt, as a covenant, like an agreement, you know. So Saul had so many